Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I'm here today at the VHU, the Military History Institute in Prague in the Czech Republic, taking a look at some of the experimental Czech submachine guns from the 1940s. And specifically today, we have the ZK-466. Now, using this period of Czech designation system, Z means this is a small arm, K means it was produced by, well, K is the designer's first initial. In this case, it is Josef Koucky. He and his brother František were involved in quite a lot of Czech small arms design. And then the digits, the first 4-6 refer to the year of development, which is 1946. The second 6 indicates the sequential number of gun that this was for Koucky in 1946. So this was his 6th design of 1946. He was a very busy man. For what it's worth, like one of his other examples from this year, I don't know exactly which number it was, but it was a conversion of the ZK-383 to use papasha drums, which sounds like a pretty cool gun. We'll see if we can get that for a future video. Koucky was, by the way, the designer of the ZK-383. 383, of course, would be 1938 and his 3rd design of the year. Anyway, we're getting far afield here. This was developed initially for the Czech military. Of course, after World War II, the Czech military needed a submachine gun. They had adopted one right before the war, never got it into production. I have a separate video on that gun if you're interested in it, but that left them after World War II with no submachine guns. Now, eventually, in 1948, they would adopt a gun that we know today as the SA-VZ 23, 25, or 24 and 26, depending on the caliber and the type of stock. But in 1947, they held a large trial with like 7 different competitive designs. This was one of them. And it was pretty quickly not adopted. The Czech military just really wasn't interested in this. So Brno, having manufactured it, attempted to sell it for export. And we'll talk about where it did or didn't go in a minute. But first, let's take a look at what the actual gun is and how French it might be, perhaps with a folding magazine. Brno made both a wooden fixed stock version of this gun as well as this, the collapsing stock version. All of them have folding magazine wells, so there's a button on the left side, push that in, and it lets you fold the magazine well up. And the intention is that these 2 sort of spring-loaded tabs will hold the magazine in place. This one's pretty loose. Doesn't really hold the magazine up there anymore. Of course, folding the magazine well does give you a big opening in the bottom of the gun, so there is a dust cover there to close that. The magazine itself is the same magazine that the post-war ZK-383 used. Double stack, double feed, 30-round capacity. It's a very good magazine, and of course it makes sense to use it here because Koucky also designed the ZK-383. A few other features here. We have a 2-slot compensator built into the end of the barrel shroud, stamped ventilated barrel shroud there. We have the Brno logo on the top. We have the model designation, so ZK-466. 06 here is the serial number of this particular example. This is a select fire gun, so the center position of the safety is safe, and then flip it forward and you're in semi-auto, flip it rearward and you're in full auto. The front sight is just a fixed sort of semicircular blade there. The rear sight is an aperture, but it's kind of an odd aperture where it's actually a very long housing for a normal aperture inside. Now there is this notch on top, which is probably usable as I suspect that's like the 100-meter open sight where the notch is zeroed for 50. There are a few other guns that have setups kind of like that. The rear notch here is drift adjustable for windage, so that's how you would set the 0 on it. The charging handle is here on the top, and it is an open bolt gun, simple blowback mechanism. In order to collapse the stock, you have 2 buttons, one on each side here. Push those both, and then you can collapse this all the way inward like that till the stock, the butt plate, is flush with the pistol grip, like so. Nothing actually holds the stock in the closed position except friction, So to open it, all you have to do is grab and pull. One other neat feature, which a number of other guns have done, like the M3 grease gun, is that one of the rods of the collapsing stock has a slot in it, and it is designed to be used as a cleaning rod. In order to disassemble the piece, we are going to fold the magazine well forward. We're going to push forward our dust cover and then lift up this lever. Go. With that up, we can then just slide the upper and lower components apart. What that lever actually does is raise and lower this pin, which just locks the lower assembly into this lug on the upper assembly. So just a short look at the fire control system here. In full auto, it is as simple as pull trigger, drop sear. When we switch that to semi-auto, this is our semi-auto disconnector. When the bolt goes forward over it, it resets the sear, just like that. So in full auto, that disconnector is dropped down out of the way. And in safe, by the way, you can see when I put it in safe, right there, this bar lifts up, and that is going to lock behind the bolt and prevent the bolt from moving. Looking at the upper assembly, we have a big, chunky, heavy bolt here. To disassemble this, I need to pull it back, and then I can grab the spring here, pull that back, and then lift the whole assembly. There we go, out. Let's try not to shoot the spring across the room. There we go. And let the spring out. There we are. So there's our bolt. The bolt handle slides off, and once it is off, you can push that pin out from down there, which allows you to remove the extractor. Firing pin is fixed. Very nicely made bolt with a lot of geometric features to it, but fundamentally very simple. It's just mass. It's just a simple blowback design. And a sheet metal upper receiver. We've got a little cavity back here where the back end of the recoil spring latches in. Barrel pinned in place up in the front. And that's all there is to it. Pretty simple. Now, I'll get to this in a minute, but there was an improved version of this made that had a slightly different style of dust cover, a few changes up here. That newer model is not in the video because it is actually on display here at the VHU. So if you come to Prague and check out the museum, you can see the modernized version of the ZK-466 whenever you'd like to. So there is the ZK-466 all field stripped. To me, one of the most interesting elements of this gun is sort of the marketing campaign that Brno put out for it, where they were suggesting this gun with its folding stock as essentially a pilot survival rifle. And they did a whole series of marketing photos showing like a post-war 1940s pilot with this thing strapped to himself in various configurations, hanging from a belt or even stuffed into a boot. The idea was, with the folding stock and the folding magazine well, the gun could really be quite compact and easy to carry on a pilot, even if they had to eject from their aircraft. So those are pretty cool. Didn't ever work for Brno, but actually, let's talk about where this gun went. Overall, 22 examples of the ZK-466 were manufactured. The first couple went for Czech military testing. By the time they got to number 10, they were starting to look for potential export markets. Number 10 specifically went to Argentina, who tested it. Number, I believe, 13 went to Venezuela. They then, at that point, they made some improvements based on feedback from the Argentines. So they actually got rid of the compensator. They changed the design of this magazine well cover. They gave it a removable barrel. Not huge changes, but a couple little improvements, and continued to make a number of additional examples. The largest purchaser of these guns overall was WF Bern in Switzerland, who bought a grand total of 5 of them, presumably for some sort of testing of their own, but the Swiss didn't end up adopting this gun or purchasing it in any further quantity. So 22 made, that was all of it. The Swiss sales were sold in 49 and delivered in 1950. And that was pretty much the last gasp of the ZK-466. So I'd like to give a big thanks to the VHU here in Prague for giving me access to this example to film for you guys. And they do have a very nice public army museum here. If you are in Prague, or if you're making plans to visit Prague, definitely set aside some time to check out the museum. Aside from all of the regular exhibits you would expect from a modern military museum, they also have an entire wall of funky Czech prototype guns that are really cool to look at. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.